Hello everyone and welcome in to our 5th anniversary dial-in. It's been 5 years.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
I literally, I haven't been here long, but that's crazy. You guys have been at this for 5 years. That's just insane to me.
It really is. Literally the first IDTJ was an absolute failure, I'll be honest. It ended up being a squid party between two teams. Not even teams at that point. There was dropouts on two teams. Dropouts have been a plague throughout.
Every event has them. I mean, but
every event does.
That's the struggles, right? That's what makes this so sweet, is that the first couple of years, the first events are always such a toss-up of what happens. Sometimes you have just the bare minimum, sometimes you barely get anybody, but once you look back, and now especially at 5 years, and see what you've come from, it's really just an incredible thing to think about all you've created and how you've grown over the time.
Yeah, and just passing 1,500 members on the Discord server.
That's wild. That's so many.
It blows my mind. So we've got a lot planned. I've been planning, I don't know how long we've been planning some of the events. It's been well over half a year that some of these events have definitely been in the works and been planning for. And we'll be sharing majority of what's coming up. So do you want to dive into the first thing we got coming up?
Let's go into it. Let's see what you got created here. Let's see what's coming.
Welcome to the Off the Dial shop. For a while now, we've been trying to find ways for you to support us, but also so you can get something back in return. In Catalog 1, you can find items such as the 5th anniversary shirt, the friendly hoodie, and the bottle. These items are a part of our timed catalog, so if you want them, get them. But we'll also have our Palm collection in our permanent catalog, so you can always get those hearts or noms. The shop will launch on February 1st, and Catalog 1 will be available until the end of March.
So we're finally bringing monetization to Off the Dial. Not in the form of Patreon or Ko-Fi or anything like that. We're going full on into a shop. Why not go straight into the deep end?
I think that's a really cool way to do it in a world where, like you said, like Patreon and just kind of giving methods are kind of what's the expected. A shop makes total sense because it's so nice to kind of own a piece of what you're supporting and helping. I think these objects, these things you're creating are really cool, and I think the way you're setting this up is really cool too.
Yeah, the first and primary thing, we're not making the shop to make a business. No. It's more of the fact to support, the cost that it takes to run Off the Dial, because running a website, the bot, and all that stuff, it's not free. It's not the most expensive, but it's not free.
No, it's not. So
having a method to support that is good. And then obviously there's so many people who help run these events. Obviously I do a large portion, but I think there was we got 40 people in the staff server.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of people who help behind the scenes.
Yeah, if you've even seen me around the community at all, I know I'm a fresh face, but I'm always a supportive of making sure that people who help run this get something for their time. Volunteering is always a nice thing, but really you're doing a lot of good by helping support, not only just keeping the bots up and running. And if you've ever looked for a free agent, if you've ever looked for a scrim, you've seen the Off the Dial bot. And if you've ever watched any of the streams, you really see how much goes into it on all those sides, and making sure everybody can kind of continue to do that is just so important for not just the health of the community, but also the health of just Off the Dial and everybody in general. So it's really cool the way you're opening this up, and having gotten that sneak peek from it all, that bottle looks really, really cool. The artwork on that, who was the artist for that? Because that art is really, really cool.
Ambird made the art for that. And speaking of something that isn't actually in the early access version of the shop yet is that we will be doing a special artist feature for each catalog. May not have it up for catalog 1, but definitely from catalog 2 onwards.
Really cool.
we will be having a featured artist in which they'll design something and they'll actually be taking majority of the profit that's made
so cool.
on that single product.
That's so cool. Again, just the way you're able to, like kind of support not just your community and the Splatoon community as a whole, but even the individual artists, giving them a chance to show off their skills. That's so cool. This is such a great, this is just such a great cause to give to. The shirts, now that we've seen them, the shirts look cool. All these products look really cool. And that first catalog worth of stuff is really going to be something you don't want to miss out on. So I'm excited to see this. When is it launching? When can we get our hands on this stuff?
So the first catalog and the entire shop launches on February 1st. But then catalog 1 will go from February 1st to the end of March, so March 31st. So make sure if you want to get those items, you pick them up. If you don't want them, obviously you don't have to get them. But we will have I believe the noms or the poms. I don't know. I'm still deciding on the name of that. Will be our permanent collection, so you can get them any time of the year.
That's awesome. I can't wait. I'm going to be looking out to see what cool merch drops in that first catalog, because that's going to be some really cool stuff.
Absolutely. And there's actually one other feature we can do with the shop, and that is, obviously we'll do this once the shop is live, but Twitch gifting. You can actually gift people in Twitch chat when we're live stuff from the merch shop.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. I didn't even know that was a thing you could do.
I didn't know either until I discovered it. So
cool.
Whether you guys want to do that, we might even run some giveaways during our live streams of the tournament. Obviously, you'll have to stick around and watch if you want to participate in that. But while it's lovely to talk about the shop, there is a lot more we're going to get through today.
The Splatoon community would not be where it is today without a few faces. These faces have helped shape and grow both the casual and competitive sides of Splatoon. They've sent countless invitations to new and returning players. You know these faces as creators. Welcome to Season 2 of the Creator Clash. Get ready to see creators battle it out in the classic IDTGA formula to see who will come out on top. The Creator Clash will begin at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on February 18th. See you then.
And yes, we're bringing back the Creator Clash from we did the last Creator Clash for our 4th anniversary. So 5th anniversary, of course, have to have a Season 2.
Yeah, makes total sense. I mean, especially on your 5th year, that's such an important year. You got to bring back something that was so popular, right? And I think this is also important because, let's be real, getting the more known, the faces in some ways of the Splatoon community back together and playing in such a fair kind of a way as that Dangerous to Go Alone format is so big for the community, and it'll do so much more for everybody involved too.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for creators to clash and play together, because obviously you don't really get to do many tournaments where you're just gonna have pure creators other than a free agent tournament. And not to toot our own horn, but we've been doing this for a little bit now. We kind of know what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but you got some of the you were giving me a little sneak peek behind the scenes. You gave me a list, a little bit of the information of who's coming, and I will say that these are just some of the names. Like, these are just the people that you should recognize, especially if you are deep into the community and you've probably spent a lot of time with them. But if not, these are also the creators that tend to be the face of Splatoon in a lot of ways. These are the people you see on Twitch frequently. These are the people making content, putting it out on YouTube, and to really see all those people come together and just pull them away from just, makers and creators and see them as actual players is so cool to me. I can't wait to see this come down, because it's going to be really, really awesome to see these players come out and give their all on it.
Yeah, and you did say, obviously, we're getting a lot of names in here. We'll be getting many returning players from Season 1. We're also going to some fresh new faces joining us in Season 2. So don't think you can't buy out the entire cast.
Yeah, you're not going to know that. You're not going to know
the entire cast. No, and so definitely excited for that. We'll be posting on who will be going into the Creator Clash on our Twitter. You can just find that at ot.inc/Twitter or off_the_dial, because someone took off the dial. It irritates me every time.
It's the way it is, but
But-
I mean, even so keep an eye for that, and then keep an eye and make sure you tune in live on the 18th of February at 3 p.m. Eastern time, because that is when it is all going to go down, and we're going to get everybody into the ink and throwing those we'll just get them throwing them bullets everywhere and see it all come to fruition.
Absolutely. Now, something else we're also bringing to the Off the Dial site is getting a little bit of an upgrade. If you actually go to it now, you'll see that we've put some little under construction banners and tags, just to say we're updating this. But here's a little bit of a preview of what the site's going to be looking like. So the entire back end of the site has been reworked, so we can push through and do some certain updates that will make future tournaments work better. And obviously the design of some of the pages are looking a bit nicer. So the IDTGA page, as you can probably see now, is got it a bit of an overhaul.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's year 5. After year 5, you got to kind of step it up. You got to get yourself in some nicer clothes, and you got to make it look a little bit more professional. At this point, you've been around and seen it, and it looks incredible. Like, you can see it now. It just is a great update, a great new set of paint and everything. And being able to support some of the more tournament integrated stuff really is a cool feature in a lot of ways. Being able to keep an eye on, just different things for invitationals and the different events that you might bring into it. That's such a cool way to keep the community together in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so you did mention that invitationals and passwords, and yes, that is something we're going to be bringing to the Off the Dial site. So you can, for some invitationals that we might be running, you can just put in a password and then you can do your sign up information. Speaking of invitationals, there's one coming right up around the corner.
We've been running IDTGA for 5 years now. So some of you have earned quite a bit of signal strength. And a lot of reputation. Welcome, All-Stars! IDTGA All-Stars is an invitational tournament where only the players who have achieved over 1,000 signal strength are invited to enter. The first season of the All-Star Series will commence at 3 p.m. EST on the 4th of February.
So the IDTGA All-Stars is coming very, very soon.
That's awesome. Wow, that wasn't on my radar of stuff that was going to be coming for certain, and given how many of already that's then the TGAs have come and gone, this seems like a great way to really show some of the stronger talent here. I mean, how difficult is it really to get invited to this event?
It's quite difficult. I believe we'll only be doing calculations for signal strength. I believe we reset it, I think, either a year and a half or 2 years ago. I believe the signal strength got reset to 0 because we changed our entire balancing system for that. But it is quite hard to get 1,000 signal strength. You either need to win every single IDTGA tournament for half a year or play in 10 seasons of IDTGA, which is a year's worth of tournaments.
Yeah, that's no joke. That tells me that someone who's either very, very good as an individual player is invited to this, or someone you should be watching, who's been around and playing in these events. That's someone that you should be keeping an eye out on, someone who's probably grown and probably gotten a little better. So this would be really cool to see not just the quality of player that's come, but just the kind of changes to these players that I've played in over time. This is going to be a really cool event. It's going to be a mini tournament, so primarily round robin. Just got to keep things moving in a little bit, and that's just kind of the way it will be. But that doesn't make it less competitive. It doesn't make it anything less else, but it will be a great look at all these individual draftees in like a whole new context.
Yes, while yes, you might not necessarily have the highest skill rank in your solo rank, this is why we take competitive experience into calculations when we do make these teams. And signal strength is definitely a good way to value, because it's not necessarily a representation of your power. It's a great representation of your dedication and how well you work in a team.
Yeah.
Because playing in the 70 tournaments in a free agent setting, you're bound to pick up a few skills and know how to do things with any comp.
Yeah, flexibility is key in these kinds of events. So being able to pick up things on the fly and adapt is so important. So make sure you are just as flexible to catch this event on the 4th of February at 3 p.m. because while it'll probably be running for a few hours, you need to make sure you're going to see all of this, because this is going to be a great way to see some of the players who have really been the rocks of Off the Dial.
Definitely. Now, before we do wrap up today's presentation, there is just one more thing that we've got in store for you. Check it out.
Wow. I mean, this is a huge thing. This wasn't on my radar. I mean, not only having to pull this together yourself would be such a tough thing, and I mean, we both know how difficult pulling these events are together, but pulling and collaborating with Mulloway for your first major, that's such a cool, interesting way to go about bringing in something of this size. I love it.
Yeah, it's been really great working with Mulloway to get this project going. This is the thing that's been taking months. When was the first time I even...
Oh, gosh.
Well, I've been theorizing of making this for like years, but I think the actual first plans were probably like 9 months, a year ago. So these have been going for a long time in the works.
And these kinds of events are tough. And I've commented in the past about how getting ID TGA to go is in itself is just a big deal, but being the first major in Splatoon where you can enter as a draftee, and it's going to be a draft-based system similar to what you're familiar here with Off the Dial, that's huge, because these events don't get taken by everybody. So this is something that, if you really do love the format and the way these are run, it's so important to come out and enter this and make sure this does successful, because keeping this at a major status will be so big going on to the future. And I mean, there's so much to this event. There's so much that's got to go into this, right? Like, when do we get to hear more about this? Because this is a lot to plan for and like accommodate.
It's a lot, and it's so big that we're gonna have to have its own separate presentation, because we're not revealing what it's called yet. We're not showing you what it looks like. And the entire format of how the tournament works, while yes, it will share a lot of similarities to IDGA, it's very, very different. Okay. And that's why this is a major rather than just a standard TGA.
Okay, that's interesting, because those changes, I think you've got a great format with that, but I'm very interested to see what it is. So when I think major, when I think of major events, I'm always thinking, prize pools, or what is making this so big and outstanding. And I know we were kind of talking about this behind the scenes. So, it's not going to be straight cash, which I know a lot of people are interested in, but there'll be some sort of prizing, right? There's going to be something on the line here, not just necessarily internet clout per se.
Yeah. So obviously, we've had issues in the past with using money as a prize. We tested that last year for a special 4th anniversary tournament then. And if we have a money prize, it just incentivizes dropouts. Because people see money and they don't plan their event. We saw that, and we got a record number of dropouts.
That's
given
wild.
the amount of players that signed up. So thanks to you guys, we're not doing money prizing. Well done.
It's not for everybody.
But we will be having some form of prizing, that being maybe merch from the shop, Could be Discord Nitro, something redeemable.
Yeah.
Because that is something we can give to you, something you can be used as a prize, and you can take it home, be useful.
Yeah, I mean, everybody loves money, but there's something to be had in particular about getting a prize that has a memory attached to it, right? Like being a part of the first major and being able to throw on a hoodie and be like, oh, that's right, I won this in the first off the dial major is going to go a lot more distance than just like getting $20 and burning it on something. So that's a really cool take on this. And I think that the community, I hope the community will back me when I say that this is something that I think will go over well when it comes to a major.
Yeah. Obviously, the amount of prizing that will be used will be determined on how much the shop gets used, because obviously if more people spend money in the shop, I have more money to burn. Yeah, not really, but yes. So yeah, that is the plan in terms of prizing for the major, and just wanted to set that record straight from announcing, because I know a lot of people go think major money.
Yeah.
No, not this time.
Look, this is a unique event and it needs a unique prize. I think you've got a great grasp on this, and I think that that's the best way to do it. It's going to be a unique major. It's going to be a unique event, and I think everything down to prizing and even maybe, production side will be unique about it. And I think it's definitely something you need to keep an eye out for the future, just to keep an eye out to find out more about it. So announcement of an announcement here for keeping an eye out.
Yeah, so we'll be, obviously, as we said earlier, be revealing more about this in early mid-February. But for now, that is the end of our 5th anniversary dial-in.
I mean, what just some incredible stuff we've heard today, just between the various events, the shop coming up, and even just the rework of the webpage. A lot of cool stuff going on and off the dial. If you aren't already following, and I don't know how you could see this and not, but drag your friends here, get them involved, get them interested, because this org is going places and trying new stuff, and you can't afford to miss a single instance of what's coming. I'm excited. I'm sure you have to be as well with all the things we've heard today.
And it's going to be a treat to see, and I hope you all are excited for what's to come. But for now, that's it. Thanks for coming, everyone, and we'll see you in the next tournament, which will be the IDTJ All-Stars.